United are expected to make a formal offer for RB Leipzig striker Benjamin Sesko.
So, the battle for Benjamin Sesko continues, with Manchester United expected to make a formal offer to RB Leipzig. Well, Newcastle are in ongoing talks over the structure of a deal after they made an official bid worth £69.8 million.
There is still a rawness about Sesko, but you look at his journey. He was at Salzburg and he took a while to get going there, but once he did, he started to score goals. And I do think he's dynamic enough, I do think he's physical enough to deal with the Premier League. And what I like about him is that he's not scared to try things. There was a goal towards the back end of last season that I commentated on against Bayern, where the goalkeeper, Jonas Urbich, was a long way off his line. A lot of players would just lift that ball over the top of the goalkeeper. He went, no, I'll just hit it with the outside of my boot. And he strikes the ball beautifully. Decision-making sometimes needs a bit of work, but he's 22. So I think clubs are looking at him and thinking he's got a high ceiling. It was interesting, there were a lot of comparisons between Sesko and Gyökeres with Arsenal, because Arsenal have been very interested in him for quite some time and then pivoted to Gyökeres. Gyökeres is probably a win now guy, but I think in 2-3 years' time, Sesko, I think, has that higher potential, but I think he can score goals in the short to medium term as well.
Garnacho, for those who weren't with us earlier, just sum up again where we are with Sesko.
Benjamin Sesko, right, Manchester United, we think, are expected to make a formal offer. They've been having talks with RB Leipzig about what they'd be prepared to pay. Now, we do know that Newcastle United have made their move already. They've gone to RB Leipzig and said, we are making a formal bid, 75 million euros down payment, 5 million euros in performance-related add-ons. That's just shy of around 70 million pounds. They continue talks with RB Leipzig as well over the structure of that deal. Manchester United have yet to make that formal offer, but we are expecting them to do just that. Once that happens, and once there's an agreement with one or both clubs, then it's going to be up to Sesko himself to decide where he wants to go. We think he is open to both projects, but one source continues to tell us that he's leaning slightly towards Manchester United. That's at this stage.
OK, so he might be going to Manchester United. Remind us for the players who could be on the way out of United.
Well, we know that Marcus Rashford has gone. There are 4 others in Tyrell Malacia, Jadon Sancho, Anthony and Alejandro Garnacho, who Manchester United are listening to offers for. Borussia Dortmund still pushing to sign Jadon Sancho for the second time, but for his 3rd spell at the club. Remember, United actually signed him for £73 million. He went back on loan there the season before last, had a really successful time there at Dortmund. They got to the Champions League final. United ended up making a profit on his wages for the time that he was there. They're interested in getting him back again. Now, there's been no formal bid to United. Dortmund, at this moment in time, just getting the information on the potential conditions of a deal. It's thought United would want a permanent element attached to this deal. They would want a permanent sale, number one. Yeah. If they can't get that, because we know that there's complications related to Jadon Sancho's wages, if it was to be another loan, United would, I think, demand, listen, if you take him on loan, there's got to be an obligation. And this is going to be the price of that obligation. Juventus and Napoli were also interested earlier on in this transfer window. I spoke to Gianluca Di Marzio from Sky Italy earlier on today. He seems to think the interest from Juventus has cooled a little bit for now. There is also interest in Sancho from 2 Saudi clubs. As